Hey everybody, it's Alex here again with another episode of Bow Hunters of Wyoming. And today I would like to introduce a very special guest, my longtime friend of, Levi, 3 weeks we've known each other?
Right? Yeah. Maybe 3 weeks.
Maybe 3 weeks. So, longtime friend Levi Kary, host of Western Territory Podcast. Levi, thanks for hopping on, man. Nice to meet you and have you on.
Yeah, exactly. It's the first time we're actually virtually face-to-face. We've talked on the phone, and yeah, it's good to be on the podcast, and thanks for having me.
Heck yeah, well, I appreciate it. And just so everyone listening is aware, Levi's a firefighter. I'm a cop. I'm going to make fun of firefighters numerous times throughout this podcast. If anyone's listening and they're a firefighter, please don't take it personal. We love you guys, especially once the scene is secure and everything's safe for you, right, Levi?
Right, yeah. We always need you blue canaries to help us out.
And as you can tell, everybody, today's completely unscripted. We've got 0 talking prompts, which is good because the two of us put together might be able to read a sentence. I don't know. It'd take a lot of sounding out and a lot of works.
Yeah.
So, Levi, as much for me as for our audience, tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got into the outdoors, what you do. You know, I've known you for 3 whole weeks, so I pretty much know everything there is to know about Levi, but our listeners might not.
Yeah, I guess, like you said, I'm the host of the Western Territory Podcast. I've been doing podcasting for about 5 years now. We've been running underneath the Western Territory name for about a year. Just had to do a brand change sort of thing. Yeah, I just love hunting the outdoors. I'm a waterfowl guide, and big game's kind of my passion. That's where, I mean, it's not work. I love waterfowl hunting, but it's a job at the end of the day. But particularly archery elk is what I absolutely love. I suck at it. I'm terrible at it. I've never killed an elk with my bow. But it's what I love to do. And I mean, chasing them's where it's really at. When you kill one, that's when the work starts.
Yeah, killing them is just optional, honestly. But I mean, yeah, it is where the work starts, but you're a waterfowl hunter, right? So you enjoy being miserable. I think you'd do just fine.
Yeah, exactly. I enjoy it. Yeah, I like to take it all in is what it's all about. So, I mean, I keep getting closer every year. I don't know, or I keep coming up with more excuses. I don't know what it is.
Either one works. Man, archery elk hunting, that's a different ball game. It's tough. And
yeah.
So do you guide out there out of, is it Powell?
Yeah. Yep. That's where I guide out of. My business partner and I, we've been doing that for about, this is going to be our 5th season together.
Oh, nice.
And stuff. So yeah, we're booked out for a total of 3 years. Books totally closed. Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. Our stuff kind of blew up because a decoy company came out. They heard about our style of hunting, and they recorded a couple YouTube videos with us. And next thing you knew, a bunch of people were trying to come hunt with us. So we decided to start an outfit. So, that's kind of the history of that, and we're loving it.
I'd say that worked out pretty well. And Levi's pretty modest. If you don't know, he's kind of an Instagram celebrity. So, dude, I was scrolling through your Instagram before this. You've got like 7,000 followers. It's a good thing I wore my nice hoodie because you're famous, man.
I don't think I'm famous by any means.
What's the name of your outfit? Is your guiding business?
That's 307 Foul Play Outfitters.
Nice. So you're fully booked for 3 years. That doesn't happen very often, does it? I mean, like when you look at outfitters across the board, I can't imagine most are booked out 3 years solid.
No, most aren't. And that's kind of like an asterisk because it's really hard for us to truly book them out when waterfowl dates are kind of, floating on the front end and the back end of the seasons and stuff. So, I mean, you kind of are going off like your first weekend, your second weekend of season, stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, a lot of it's starting to be returning clients as well. So, I mean, you've got our returning clients have always got precedence over the newcomers, I guess. So
I think that's probably a good way to do it. Do you have quite a few returning clients? Do they make up a pretty good chunk of your business?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I like it that way. They're turning into, as cheesy as it sounds, they're turning into like really, really good friends. Like one of them, my Ryan Denman, I'll throw his name out because, I mean, he's honestly a good friend of mine. I text and call and talk to him almost every day. Like it feels bad almost taking his money when he comes up to hunt.
That's a good sign you guys are doing it right. And correct me if I'm wrong, Levi, I bet that helps not turning what you love into just a job, right? If you can maintain those relationships. Because I've got some buddies who guide and some buddies who run outfits, and you hear it too often. Oh man, it started out as something I love and now it's just a job and I kind of, hate it. And I bet when you have those long-term customers and you build friendships like that, it helps kind of avoid that pitfall.
It definitely helps. There is that, like, in some ways you work harder for them because, I mean, they're your good friends. Like, I put out for everybody. I mean, I'm
you
always
put out
trying
for everybody,
hard.
huh?
Yeah, I do. I'm a fireman, of course. I put out. That's my job.
I could pass that one up. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I teed it up for you. But I mean, there's some things, I guess, legally that I would go a little bit more above and beyond for them, and I don't know, but it's also at the same point, if the hunt still goes badly, I don't feel as guilty because I know that they're there for the experience and that they understand it's hunting at the end of the day. It's not just out there killing. And that's the same thing, going elk hunting with my business partner, Kurt. At the end of the day, it's about the hunt, not about killing the elk, or deer or antelope. I mean, it's about going out and hunting, and that's realistically what it's all about.
I think that speaks a lot to our membership too and our listenership. Bow hunters of Wyoming, we as bow hunters are typically less lethal than your rifle hunters. Our success rates are typically considerably lower, and I know you kind of line up with my ideology. Man, the hunt is it. The whole experience from talking about it to planning it to going on it to talking about it when you're done and reliving it. Don't get me wrong, I really want to be successful. I want to kill an animal, but man, that's just like an added bonus at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough when I was younger to kill some really big elk. I consider myself a decently modest person, but they were big bulls, and I was lucky enough to do so. So that's one reason I picked up a bow, and I wanted to push myself. And boy, has it been a challenge, but I've loved every step of the way. I mean, it's made me love it that much more.
It seems like I think you probably line up with this. The harder you work for something, the more it means in the end. Hunting elk's a great example. Not to, diss on rifle hunting by any means, but it's a lot different being able to spot an elk at 200, 300 yards away, settle a scope and squeeze the trigger, where now you've got to get within, whatever your effective shooting range is, not get busted drawing back, make sure you put the arrow in the right spot, then track the blood trail. It's a whole different ball game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And even when you do everything right, it can still go wrong. I actually wrote an article a few years ago for the magazine, for Bow's magazine, and it talks about how, I mean, it was a solid bull. I'd put him 330 class bull.
It's a damn good bull.
He was broadside, I think 25, 30 yards, drew back. I've never felt so good about a shot in my life. And pin settled, squeezed my release, and my bow blew up on me.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and I didn't really realize what happened. I knew it sounded weird, and I'm just like, what the heck? So I just went to, like, knock another arrow, and I looked down, and my string's loose, and that's when I realized it.
I'll be damned.
So, Yeah.
Absolute worst time.
Yeah, it was terrible.
And that's the thing, man. You know, we as bow hunters, we need every single thing to go right one time.
Mm-hmm.
All that animal needs is one thing to go wrong every time, and they'll be just fine. Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about waterfowl hunting, but when it comes to waterfowl hunting and bow hunting elk, are there certain things that are similar with each one? Like, do you find yourself comparing the two?
I do, but like in some ways they're polar opposite. Like, so with us, you're always, I mean, the similarity is that you're always playing the wind. And same thing with waterfowl. You're always playing the wind. But with waterfowl, you want wind at your back because the way that they land into the wind.
Oh, okay.
Whereas, you know, obviously with elk or big game, you know, with the scent, you know, we all know. So, yeah.
Well said. Well put.
Yeah, I just didn't want to get too into the weeds when we all know exactly what the heck I'm talking about.
I'm glad you clarified that for me because, as you know, as a cop, my room temp or my IQ hovers right about room temp.
Yeah.
So any
exactly.
extra help is appreciated.
Oh yeah. So, but I mean, there's other stuff, but there's differences. I like the camaraderie, being able to sit back and not really worry about how loud you're being, you know.
Yeah.
But concealment can be a big thing, you know, covering up yourself, watching shadows, watching shiny things. Man, trying to think what else.
So
Some
I know,
expert, right?
Yeah, I put you on the spot a little bit. I'll own that one. So
You're good.
bow hunting elk is my thing, right? That's 100% my passion, and I'm pretty well aware of the challenges that it poses. Like, it could definitely be a grind when you get out, especially if you're backpacking and you're on like day 5, day 6, you haven't seen anything, it's hot, You're climbing up and down. Are there any challenges when it comes to waterfowl that can turn it into that kind of a grind?
Yeah, I mean, when you're like, you can be packing a lot of gear in and out of stuff. Like, there's that grind, and then there's the grind of just long, hard days of, I mean, dark to dark, you know, scouting day in, day out. You scout when you're done hunting. I mean, you're constantly living it, the entire time. I had something else here. Forgive me. Like we were talking before, I fought fire all night before, so my brain's a little frazzled.
Yeah,
I'm just
you're good, man.
Firefighter. So.
Yep, totally understandable.
But I mean, that grind wears on you toward the end of the season, especially putting up with those sub-zero temperatures all the time. And I mean, there was a specific hunt that I was out in the river chasing birds because it was too cold to have my dog out there, where I was coughing up blood because I was inhaling the water vapor, and it was like, and you know, I was coughing up blood. It was, but I had to do it. I had a job that I had to complete and get done. So I mean, there's a physical grind to it. It wears you down.
That weather in and of itself gets old fast. I'm originally from northern Minnesota, and duck hunting's huge up there. And it seems like the one constant of duck hunting is the weather's always terrible. And my buddies would ask me to go, and I'd say, "Are you kidding me? It doesn't look any fun at all. I'm going to sit there cold, wet, and miserable when I could go hunt an elk." Mm-hmm. Come on, man. Not to knock waterfowl, because it actually does look like a ton of fun. So don't get
when
that.
It's good, it's good, man. Any kind of hunting. When it's good, it's good.
Yeah, you're right. Any kind of hunting is good hunting. I do have a question about the scouting part, and I'm kind of glad you brought that up because I was just listening to a podcast. Have you ever heard of the Big Hunt guys, the Go Hunt podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was listening to that the other day, and one of them was talking about waterfowling, and he was talking about the scouting that goes into it. I had no idea. I thought you just went and sat in a pond and honked on your call. But obviously there's a lot more to it than someone who's as uneducated as I am. Tell me a little bit about the scouting that goes into it.
Scouting's like one of the most important things as most hunting. I mean, you're constantly looking at different areas. You're keying on feeds. You're keying on low for resting points. You're trying to So like another spot is you'll want to find roosts. So roosts are where they're actually staying and sleeping and all of that. So you'll want to find a roost, but you never want to hunt a roost because you'll blow the birds out. They'll move on, they'll migrate out,
and they won't
they'll
come
find
back.
somewhere to be. They won't really come back. Once you bust up a roost, like maybe once or twice, they'll move out. So you find the roost, and I'll sit there and I'll watch them, and I'll see where they pick up, and I'll follow them. And that's what it's kind of crazy. It's almost like storm chasing at that point. So you're following birds, and you're like on these county roads, and you're looking in the sky, and you're trying to follow them, and you're trying to figure out ways to get there. And you'll follow them to a feed typically, or you'll find like a loaf too, because sometimes they'll find a spot to go get a quick drink, and then they'll go to a feed. And so you're just finding these different resources that they like to be at, and that's where you're going to sit and wait. And so then you're part of your scout too is looking at weather. You're looking at wind directions, because I mean that's part of your setup. Is okay, I need to set myself up to where the wind is in my favor, to where those birds are going to approach from the right angle. I've got to have a good hide. I mean, all these things got to line up to make it happen. So there's a lot more into it than I mean, yeah, you can go sit on a pond and you could luck out and kill a couple birds, but if you really want to do good and stack them up, you got to really put the work in and do your homework.
Sounds like it. It sounds like there's a lot that goes into it. That's pretty cool, actually, especially for me, someone who's not very knowledgeable about it. To hear that kind of makes me think, almost compare it to elk hunting a little bit, where, you know, you have those guys who are successful like once every 3 to 5 years, and then you have those guys that are successful every single year. And it sounds like duck hunting is the same thing. You're going to have the guys that luck into it, and then the guys who know what they're doing.
Yeah, you've got the guys that are, okay, this is, you know, they're feeding right here, but I'm going to catch them on the transition to their bedding area. You know, that's where we're going to get in on them. Or, you know, they just know how elk work. They know their routine, their behavior, everything. So that's a lot of it, is just knowing how each animal lives its life.
There's no such thing as knowing too much about animal behavior, especially the one you're chasing. No. So,
yeah.
Levi, tell me about the podcast. For those who don't know, you're the host of Western Territory Podcast. Like we covered earlier, you're basically a celebrity gracing us with your presence, and it's pretty cool. So give us a rundown on the podcast. You know, when did it start? How did it start? What do you got going on with that?
It started, the podcast in itself started a number of years ago, 5 years ago, I guess, just sitting in a goose field with buddies talking about like, hey, aren't we funny? Wouldn't it be cool to record what we say? And I bet people would, you know, think it's funny too. And it was just kind of a joke. And next thing I knew, I ordered podcast equipment, and then COVID hit, and we sat down and recorded a couple episodes, and boy, were those some episodes. Slightly incriminating, I am sure, because I mean, they were like Joe Rogan length, like,
oh really,
3.5 hour long, like we were killing like a case of beer, like it was bad.
All right.
Yeah. But then marched forward, cleaned things up, got a lot more serious and professional about stuff, had you know, some really good guests on, started talking about some really compelling kind of things. One of my favorite ones was I had an animal rights activist on that was actually part of an animal rights group that was considered by I think the FBI, like basically a local terrorist organization.
Oh, really?
Like, because they did like cyber terrorism.
I'll be damned.
Which was kind of freaky to have her have my phone number and all this stuff. But
I bet
anyway,
it was
a really
interesting,
cool discussion, because I flat out told her from the beginning, before we even hit, you know, the record button, I said, if either one of us get to where we're not listening and having a conversation, we're done. Like,
good move.
Hanging up, no more. Yeah, I mean, and I said, neither one of us is going to convince the other one that we're right, but maybe we'll walk away with at least a mutual understanding.
Which is
And
huge in
that-
and of itself, right?
Exactly. And I said, then that's a win. And she agreed, and the episode went great. But then, yeah, so ended up keep going on throughout the podcast, and decided to turn directions, change the name. The name was too narrow of a scope.
What was the name?
Because the
Picking
name back
Feathers
then
or-
was Pulling Feathers.
Pulling Fe-
Yep. So then it was too narrow, like just birds and stuff. And I really, really enjoyed talking Western big game hunting as well. And I was also approached by the Okayest Podcast Network about having a show on their network. And so I said, perfect timing. Let's change the name Western Territory, because they wanted me to cover, you know, this style of stuff. This meaning our typical like Wyoming Western style of hunting, you know, the spot and stock kind of stuff. And realistically just talk about anything. Because I even told them, I was like, I love talking off-roading. You know, even our style of waterfowl hunting is a little bit different. I want to talk everything, and even spin things over to where, like, I want to talk about us Western people going back east and going hunting and how to do that. Because we always hear about how Eastern guys can come out west and go hunt and build up points and all that. How do we go over there and encroach on their stuff too?
Yeah, that's a good point, because you rarely get that side of the coin.
Yeah, so why not? So that's kind of the whole idea of Western Territory podcast. And ultimately, I just want an excuse to talk to different people, see what their story is in life, and have an excuse to drink beer on Wednesday.
I don't think you need an excuse to do that. I think that's just acceptable.
Right.
Is hosting a podcast and kind of getting to where you're at now, is that what you expected when you guys started out drinking a case of beer and just talking about hunting, or has it grown past what you ever would have thought it was going to be? Did that question even make sense, Levi?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it definitely turned out like nothing like I ever expected it to be, just in the respect of like keeping it professional, also that it basically would end up being just me. And I don't know, just all the connections that it's made, the amount of friends that I have made, and this sounds so dorky, the amount of friends that I have made online that I have never met.
You're right.
But
that
I
did
would
sound
honestly,
dorky.
yeah, but like honestly though, I could call them up and say, hey, something's happened, and they would probably come here.
Isn't that cool?
And help me out. That's nuts. And then the people that I've actually, and my wife like made fun of me and thought I was going to die so many times. Like, I mean, they came over here and came hunting with me and stayed in my camper. Yeah. Like the friends that I made online, and then like they tell you that like when we were growing up, you know,
don't talk to predators online.
Yeah, exactly. And what do? I invite them with a gun to go hang out.
Yeah, you did not listen, but it sounds like it's worked out pretty darn well.
Oh yeah, it's been great.
I think that speaks. Well, yeah, you're still alive, so it's got to be working pretty well. No one's killed you and stuffed you in the camper. I think overall that's a pretty good testament, I think, to our kind of outdoor, I don't want to say the word family, but kind of a family, for lack of a better term, and just kind of how close we become so quickly based on shared passions, lifestyles. Because to me, and I think you're the same way, hunting is way more than just a sport, right? That's my whole life. I packed up and moved to Wyoming 12 years ago just to hunt elk. I didn't know a single person, didn't have a place to live. I lived in a hotel, took a job as a prison guard. All I knew was that elk tags were $52, and I just told everyone back home, I'll figure the rest out as I go along, but are you guys not seeing how cheap the elk tags are? Am I the only one who knows this? So I think when you get a bunch of people with that mentality, man, you guys get pretty close pretty quick. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's just, I don't know, you find a lot of like-minded people and good people. It's just, that's the heart of our community, I guess.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We've been super fortunate with bow hunters of Wyoming to have that truly a family mentality where, like you were saying, I'm sure that if something happened to me and I made a phone call to any one of the members, they would jump in their truck and drive out, and whether it would be bailing me out of jail, which I hope not because I run the jail, or whatever
Right.
whatever's going on, I'm sure they'll jump in and help. So when it comes to running Western Territory, Levi, what would you say has been the biggest challenge with hosting a podcast, running a podcast? Because even though I host a podcast, I know very little about podcasting in and of itself. So whatever wisdom you got, please feel free to share.
The hardest part after at least 5 years is like having different people to talk to.
I can see that.
You got to stay consistent too. Always consistency is the key to success when it comes to podcasting. So always turn out an episode every week or every time you say you're going to. So if your podcast publishes once a month, it better come out once a month. So like whenever I miss like a week like I did this week, it kills me. Like It really busts me up. Yeah. But the hardest part for me is to try and keep fresh guests coming on and new subjects, and that's the hardest part for me.
I could see that because, I'm sure you pull from other states as well, but Wyoming is kind of like one big small town with really long streets, right? We all pretty much tend to know each other or know of each other in one way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, and the easy ones to pull from are like, oh, I'll talk to so-and-so from this company. And then it ends up being just one big sales ad.
Yeah.
And you hate doing that. So you find other creative ways to do things.
Do most people reach out to you, or do you reach out to most people when it comes to your guests, or is it a pretty even split?
I reach out to most people.
Nice.
Like sometimes when people reach out to me, I'm like, psh, like, come on, really? Like, you're that cool? You think you're that cool? Like, even though my podcast is like nothing.
Like, don't sell yourself short, man. I saw your Instagram followers. Don't lie to me.
It's not. Yeah, it's no Joe Rogan. It's no Meat Eater. It's little numbers.
I don't know, man. You're like the Powell Joe Rogan.
Oh, jeez. I'm like Timu Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll settle
I've even got the bald head.
Well, you hide it well under that stocking cap, so you're safe. You're safe with me.
Right.
So what else are you affiliated with? Any other organizations, conservation efforts, things like that?
Yeah, so I'm an ambassador for Wyoming Wildlife Federation. Been doing that. I think this is my second official year and stuff. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing. This summer, I'm getting ready to put on my second annual event. It's called Beer, Bucks, and Brookies. Last year it was a big success. I mean, we threw it in this little bar, and it was like too small. The bar was way too small. It instantly outgrew the venue. We had like 100 people in that little bar, and it was a good success. And it's a little bit different kind of conservation event. I see a big gap in things. So there's nothing wrong with raising money for conservation, right? But a lot of times when you're giving that money, you're going, where is this going to, right? You want to see that money physically work for you.
Right.
So my idea is to have presenters talk about projects that are being done with local conservation dollars, and they're local to Wyoming projects. So we're talking about like a bear collar study or bear hair follicle study that took part in the Bighorn Mountains. I mean, that was something that the American Bear Foundation did. Those were local conservation dollars working for, us locally. I mean, there's other trout projects going on. There's different, deer collar studies, moose collar studies, all these different things that our conservation dollars are going that way. I feel like we're more willing to give if we know where it's going and we're seeing the good that it's actually doing. So that's what this event's all about. Stand around, have a good time, have some good beers, listen to some music. That's the other thing. We're going to have some food trucks there as well. We're hoping to have you guys there taking part in it. And, yeah, just have an excuse to get together all as a conservation community, no matter what kind of organization you're from, whether it's Bow Hunters of Wyoming or, Mule Deer Foundation, doesn't matter. You Trout Unlimited, we're all in it together.
I like that. I like how you said we're all in it together, because I think I've said it in every episode, somehow, some way, I insert this into the conversation. We as sportsmen are a hell of a lot stronger together than we are separate, right? Regardless of what our focal point is, whether it's trout, whether it's bow hunting. So beer, I'm going to mess it, beer, bucks, and brookies.
Bucks and brookies.
3 things I'm particularly fond of. I think that overall idea behind it, too, is good, because I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I think we as sportsmen and women are pretty bad at self-promotion. We raise the money, we expend the money, we put it towards conservation, we do good work, but we're really not very good at self-promoting. So I use Bow Hunters of Wyoming as an example. Our last commissioner's tag, we raffled off at our banquet. We raised, I think we're just shy of $40,000, so like 39 grand and some change, and we put that towards 13 to 15 different projects. Don't quote that number off the top of my head, but it was over 10 different projects. We were able to allocate money to it, but we don't really promote it, and that's our fault.
Right.
And I think all of our organizations are kind of like that. Once the money is, put towards what it's supposed to be put towards, we kind of, I don't know if we just don't want to brag or don't want to talk ourselves up, but I mean, it's really important for donors and people to see like, hey, there's a tangible return on these donations and these investments.
I think as sports people, we're moving on to the next thing is what a lot of it is. It's mission accomplished. Let's get on and get the next thing done.
Right.
Like, we got to keep marching forward. And I think that's mostly what it is. But yeah, I don't think it's a lack of pride that it's, that we accomplish these things. It's just mission accomplished, move on. We got to get the next thing done.
We got more tasks. We got things we need to do. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. And so I guess here's the platform for us to put that on, and we can let people know about these good things that we're doing.
I like it. And I think that's really just as important as procuring the money in the first place, because if you show people a tangible return on their investment, man, they're going to be more apt to invest in the future and donate in the future, especially when they see it, coming back to Wyoming to benefit our wildlife, to benefit our hunting opportunities. I know last week's guest was Susan Barrett. She's the treasurer of Bow Hunters of Wyoming, and we had a good talk about...
It's been there forever, hasn't she?
Dude, 45 years, I think, in some way, shape, or form. And I think, well, it'll come out in the episode, but I think she's held office for 40 years. So she's like the matriarch of Bow Hunters of Wyoming.
Yeah.
She's kind of the cornerstone, and it was really cool to be able to talk to her. But she made some really good points where, everything that we enjoy in Wyoming, outdoors-wise and hunting-wise, it could all be taken away, or it could all go away if we don't, work for it and care for it and maintain its sustainability. And that's where these projects come into play. And I like what you're doing, because I think it's kind of our responsibility to make sure that people are aware of what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's kind of also one reason I'm doing it at Cody City Park in June 14th. It's a Saturday. I'm hoping that there's some tourists that walk by and they're going, what's going on over here at the park? And they walk in and they see all the good stuff we're doing, and I mean, you don't know. You might end up changing somebody's mind a little bit, or at least create that mutual understanding a little bit more.
Which is,
who knows?
It's huge, because sometimes I think we forget that we're the minority, right? As hunters and outdoorsmen and women, I take it for granted all the time, because I associate almost entirely with people like yourself, right? Who hunt, bow hunt, share the same passions I do. Man, I forget that that's not the majority of most people, in the United States. So if we can put that, foot forward, and people see that, oh man, they really do care about the wildlife and preserving sustainable habitat. They're not just all about killing and moving on to the next animal. I think that helps us a lot in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing or not, or if it's going to keep going. I got to try at least. It's my form of being able to try and give back. I might not be able to donate a bunch of money and stuff, at least this is my way of being able to donate some time to some things. So, yeah, it's just my way of trying to help.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing it. And I think, really anyone who enjoys drinking beer in the park in the summertime is going to enjoy it. So good on you. Real quick, talking about conservation, I am going to do a quick shout out for bow hunters of Wyoming. We're doing our second commissioner tag drawing. So for those of you listening, if you did not draw the first commissioner tag, like myself, we are drawing another one. You can get a ticket on our website, bowhuntersofwyoming.org. I kind of don't want you guys to buy one because it hurts my chances, and I'm pretty sure I got the winning ticket. So, but either way, all the money goes to conservation projects in Wyoming. Check it out. Get yourself a ticket. We appreciate any and all help, even if it does hurt my chances. So, Levi, since this is a bow hunting podcast, I got to ask you some bow hunting questions. You've told me a little bit about your bow hunting elk journey. Besides elk, how is your bow hunting game? Is it pretty strong?
It's decent.
It's not bad.
There's a reason I'm part of the Okayest Hunter Network or Okayest Podcast Network is because I'm okay. I'm not bad. I'm not great. I'm okay.
That's a fun place to be, though, I think, personally.
Yeah.
What do you shoot?
Yeah. I shoot a Matthews V3. It's right here. Yeah, Matthews V3. 27 and a half inch draw. And I think I'm, 70-pound draw weight. And then I'm shooting some VAP TKO 300 spine arrows with an Exodus broadhead.
Nice.
I'm a fixed blade guy. So, yeah, 125 grain broadhead. So, yeah.
Good looking setup.
Yeah, I dink around a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to mess around as much with my setup this year and stuff. I'm going to just kind of stick with it. And then next year I'm going to probably upgrade to a different bow setup, and I'm going to try and shoot everything. I'm not one of those 100% brand loyal guys.
Right, if it works, you'll go with it.
Yeah, feel it. That's the way I am with shotguns, rifles, anything. Shoot what feels nice, and stick with it.
Yeah, it seems like pretty much all the companies out there today make a pretty nice product. And are you one of those guys? Are you like me, where you like to constantly tinker with your setup and try new things?
To an extent, I don't dive near as deep as my buddy Kurt does. Like
you go pretty far down the
nuts.
Rabbit hole.
I mean, I'll follow a long way, but he gets way into it. Like he's almost like taking like humidity readings and stuff. Like he's getting down there.
Man, that's even deep for me. I'm a big believer in if it ain't broke, tinker until you break it, and then figure out a better way to do it. But
yeah, he pretty much did that last year.
Did he? Humidity sounds like it's a whole nother level.
Yeah, he's nuts. Yeah, he even had a new lift, tinkered with it forever, and what happened? He couldn't quite get it timed right, and it was ticking him off, and he couldn't get something. So he ended up just going and getting a Hoyt.
Oh, really?
Just got went and got a whole new bow. And set it up.
Hey, that's one way to do it, I guess.
I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know why I did it.
But I'm having fun while I'm doing it. Maybe, I don't know.
He was freaking out.
Tinkering can get pretty damn frustrating pretty quick.
Oh, yeah, he'll call me up. Dude, I haven't slept at all. I didn't sleep at all last night because I just had something working on my brain. And I'm like, dude, what?
That's kind of one of the reasons why I went to a recurve, because I didn't go full spelunking down the rabbit hole. Like I would wiggle the top half of my torso down the rabbit hole pretty good and get kind of sucked into things that I wasn't good enough to be messing with in the first place. And my quiver looked like a yard sale, right? I got 5 different broadheads just because I'm curious which one does which. Every arrow's fletched differently. Some have 3, some has 4. As long as I can group tune them all, I really don't care. Just a hideous concoction in there. And finally I was like, man, you have got to scale things back a notch. So you're just going to use a piece of wood and a string and shoot a recurve.
So simple.
Yeah. Simple's good for me. That's where my mind belongs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes just simplifying everything is what you need to do. Just get back to square one.
Speaking of that, because I see it a lot in the elk woods. I hunt public land predominantly, and I see a lot of guys from back east coming out, which I think is awesome that guys do that.
Yeah.
That's how I ended up out here when I was living in Minnesota. I drove out, went on an elk hunt, decided I was going to move out here and did. But I see a lot of guys overcomplicate at basically everything, right? Whether it's the bow, whether it's the setup, whether it's the camouflage, whether it's the hiking in plan, whether it's the equipment. Do you ever see that waterfowling at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a gadget for everything when it comes to waterfowl hunting. And ultimately, you just need to trust your scout and you don't even need a decoy a lot of the times. If you're on the X and where you need to be, they're going to be there.
That's 90% of the game.
Hidden well. Yeah, be a good hunter at that point. So hide yourself well. You don't even need good camo, but build yourself a good hide. Watch your shadows and play your wind. I mean, that's the simple stuff. You can rule that exactly for elk hunting too.
Yeah, and I don't think simple is sexy, right? For lack of a better term, I think it's
right.
The cooler you are, the more gear you have. And I like how you said, just be a good hunter. And I feel like sometimes that gets kind of lost in today's day and age of, any technological advance, you name it, almost like you can equip yourself out of doing the actual work. But, doing the work is kind of where the magic happens.
It doesn't sell things, though.
Right. It's no fun. It's not fancy and shiny. Yeah, just telling people to work hard and put your time in is not going to sell a dang thing.
Yeah, Kurt, you don't need to buy 2 bows.
Have you ever been that guy with shotguns? Like every year's a new shotgun?
Oh, yeah. I get caught up in it as I'm staring at, no kidding, some ridiculous decoys. The top of the line decoys, and a bunch of them.
I believe it. So what little I do know about waterfowling is you can really go swimming in the deep end decoy-wise really quick.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, whether it's decoys or the camo or, there's so much that you can really get into. Yeah.
The fun is never ending.
You really want to get into it, you start talking dogs. And
Oh, buddy. Do you run a dog?
Yeah. My dog Sprig, he's my boy. He's not the best trained, but he works and he does great. And he's my first dog that I don't know if I said that already. First dog I ever trained, and he's lights out. He's 5 years old. And he's got somewhere over, I'd probably say over 3,000 retrieves all over water, I would say, mostly.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's good to hear that he's still pretty young, too. You got a lot of hunts left. I've got 2 labs. So I train labs for antler dogs, antler retrieval. And the first dog I ever trained, she's great, but she's turning 10 or 11, and she's got some hip issues. So, unfortunately, her trips are kind of coming to an end. But whether it's waterfowling or looking for antlers, man, there's something about watching a dog work that's just it's just fun.
And that's what really gets me through guiding. Is I'm able to watch my dog work. I absolutely love that. I don't have to pick up my gun. Even when it's a buddy hunt or I take out my dad or whatever, I don't have to take my gun. I don't care. I get to work my dog, and that's what I love.
Almost like we were talking about earlier, sometimes it's not about the killing. It's about everything else that goes into it. Watching your dog is just one of those things. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can think of so many different retrieves that he's done that just really stand out. And they're amazing animals. They're great, and they live for it. And he would literally kill himself for me. I know he would. And he'd be having a ball doing it.
Right. And that's, I don't know if you had dogs before that you've kind of watched age out and they still want to work, but that they just can't.
Not working dogs. This is my first actual working dog. So that's, right. He's special to me for that reason as well.
Yeah, which, I mean, that bond that's something special, whether it's days in the duck blind or miles spent hiking looking for sheds, because that's where Timber and I are at right now, and it's a little tough because, oh boy, she really wants to go look for antlers, but, every time we go out for a hike or a walk, she has trouble getting up for the next day, and she's sore, and it's like, oh man, I got this other dog, a black lab named Luke. And I don't like to talk ill about dogs. I love Luke. He's a fantastic partner, but some are just, I don't want to say the word dumb, Levi, but not smart, right? And I can say that because I'm not smart. So I identify it and I relate to it. And I love Luke. He's awesome. He'll never leave my side, which is part of the problem. But man, he just don't have it. You ever see that with duck dogs?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you definitely see that. And I've talked to a lot of like real top tier dog trainers, like they go to all the hunt tests and trials and all that stuff, and they always talk about things like that. They say there's always 1 to 2 dogs, 2 if you're lucky, that'll stand out in your life. And these are guys that have done it their whole lives. They said there's usually 2 dogs that'll really stand out in here.
I'll be damned. I could see that. Luke's actually, he's laying at my feet right now, and he's the kind of dog, you go to the bathroom and he waits outside the door for you because he's just so excited to see you. And the only day better than today is tomorrow kind of dog, just super happy all the time. But they're different, the mentality of a work dog versus a pet. Sometimes you end up with a pet, sometimes you end up with a work dog. Because you've had pet dogs before, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. But, I mean, and the difference between male and female too is crazy. I mean, seeing my buddy Kurt's female in difference to my male is night and day. I mean, Sprig is 100% go all the time, all gas, no brakes. There is his female, Luca, is dainty. She's precise, calculated. I mean, she's a great dog herself in her own right, but it's just how different they are in their mannerisms and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, every dog is completely different. The Luke's a male and Timber's a female, and she's kind of more aloof almost, a little more like, yeah, Dad, I'll listen to you. I'll listen to you on my own time. I'm going to go find the antler. I know the gig. Where Luke, the boy, is like, hey, what do you want me to do? I'm here to do it. I'll do it all day long. We'll have so much fun doing it, and I can't wait to do it. It's going to be awesome. Except pick up an antler because I hate that.
I swear Sprig would want, like, his biggest dream in life would be to, like, be a part of me.
Yeah.
Like,
that's his biggest dream. I understand that. I think that's kind of the same way Luke is.
Yeah. I just want to be a part of you. He just, like, clings to me.
Yeah, can't get close enough no matter what you're doing or where you're at. That was one of the biggest struggles trying to teach Luke how to hunt antlers. Like, Timber was good. I mean, she would run zigzags. Luke just, he won't leave your side. I try to go on runs with him, and he'll just run in between my legs and trip me up on the sidewalk, and he just can't leave, which is really cool in a way. But at the same time, it's like, man, it'd be real cool if you could find an antler, like, once in a while. It'd be pretty neat.
So he might be a good duck dog because he'll sit right next to you.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, because Sprig, he's a terrible, like, upland dog because he just, like, he doesn't really get much more than, like, if we're walking around, he won't get much more than, like, 10 feet, 8 feet away from me. He's just usually right there, and half the time he actually walks behind me.
Does he?
Yeah, so he's terrible at upland hunting. He'll retrieve. He'll do great at retrieving, but he won't go, when he was a pup, he would point and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he sucks now. Upland.
Yeah, at least he's a good companion though. What I didn't ask, is he a lab? I'm just assuming he's a lab.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
He's a lab. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good assumption.
Yeah, well, once in a while, blind squirrel finds a nut. I don't want to keep you all night, but I am going to hit you with some rapid fire questions because these are kind of fun. So after a day of hunting, you open your cooler, Levi. What kind of beer is in that cooler?
Coors Light, without a doubt.
Some Rocky Mountain water. That's a good answer. 200-inch muley or a 10-pound mallard, or however you judge the quality of a duck.
Oh, jeez. 200-inch muley.
It's a good answer. It's kind of a trick question. I don't even know if is a 10-pound mallard a thing.
I guess. Like, I don't know.
When I typed it up, I'm like, he'll get a kick out of this.
I'd say maybe the equivalent to like a 200-inch mule deer would be like a hybrid duck, like a pintail mallard hybrid.
So that
maybe
would make a lot more sense than a 10-pound mallard.
Yeah. I still think that's tough.
Hybrid or a 200-inch?
Yeah, that makes it tough. I still think 200-inch mule deer.
How rare? How rare is a hybrid?
It's pretty dang rare. I mean,
yeah, like
but mallard is more likely out of all of them to hybridize with any of them. I don't want to get too bird geeky. I will sound like a total loser.
I could tell you were like walking on the precipice there for a minute. I thought we were going to really, really go into the weeds there on I guess duck biology.
Yeah, it could get there, but I'm not going to go there.
That's fair because I'm not smart enough to keep up with you, so it would be a lost cause. Dream hunt. You can pick anywhere, any species, any weapon. Where are you going to go? What are you going to chase? What are you going to use?
That's really tough. Man, I've got this thing for bears. I really do. I kind of want to go like East Russia, kind of
Kamchatka,
like Northeast Russia. Yeah, Kamchatka, and like honestly try and get one with a bow.
I don't think it gets any cooler than that.
Yeah, I do that or do like an Alaskan float trip moose hunt.
Have you ever
with a bow?
You ever looked into a Russia bear hunt? Like, is that a feasible thing?
Yeah, it is. I have a podcast with a guy about it actually. So it's a really
awesome.
good podcast, nonetheless. On the Western Territory one, it's a really, really good story.
Oh, I bet that's nuts. Super interesting. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, listen to that episode.
Yeah,
I can't remember the guy's name, but he's holding a giant bear paw in it. You'll see the cover art. So
yeah, because those are different critters over there. Those are some big boy bears.
Yeah, you're talking like, I think he was talking like 12-foot bears and stuff.
Good Lord.
Big boys.
Did he take it with a bow? Not to get too much into it, but
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was his deal.
That's wild. Heck yeah. Well, I'll have to watch or listen to that one.
Yeah.
Well, Levi, thanks for jumping on, man. I apologize for my lack of polish, not knowing anything about podcasting, but you really stuck with it like a champ.
Hey, I'm not really that polished either, even after 5 years of this stuff, dude.
Well, I appreciate it either way. I had a blast. Where can people find you? Because you are, I said it before, you're internet famous, man. Where can people find you?
What is my Instagram handle? Western_territory_pod is my Instagram handle. That's the best place to find me. Otherwise you can look me up on Facebook, Levi Kary, Kary. And then, anywhere you find podcasts like this one, Western Territory Podcast, is where you can find me. Or if you're interested in waterfowl stuff, look at that 307 Foul Play Outfitters, and you want to see some insane waterfowl hunts, look at Dive Bomb Industries and just type in Wyoming skinny water. It's insane. So yeah,
that's cool, man. Well, I'll put your stuff in the show notes. And you got some funny stuff on your Instagram. That's a treasure trove.
My reels.
Yes, you've got some gold on there. So I'll put that all in the show notes. As always, everyone, thanks for listening. You can find us at bowhuntersofwyoming.org, Facebook and Instagram at Bowhunters of Wyoming. You can find me at Facebook and Instagram. I'm sure I don't know what my Instagram name is. My name's Alex Bockett. So, Levi, once again, thanks, man. Appreciate you hopping on. You got anything else for me?
No. Thanks for having me on, though. I really appreciate it.
Heck yeah. Anytime. We'll have to touch base again after this elk season. You can tell me all about the elk you killed.
Or I missed.
Either one. I'm ready to listen.
Yeah.
All right. Take it easy, man. Thanks.
Yeah, you too.